Hello po and magandang hapon. It's a beautiful Tuesday and we are happy to be here with you today po to discuss something that's very important. I'm sure marami na po kayong nabalitaan regarding the COVID variants. So our title po is COVID variants help work. Saklolo, nandito na po ang mga variants. So, my name is Dr. Anna York Bondoc. Our program po is called Libreng Konsulta. And we are happy po to have you join us ngayong hapon na ito. Ako po, I'm an intensive care specialist and a pulmonologist. I'm also po an internal medicine specialist. I stay po in the province, though I have a clinic in St. Luke's, Quezon City, and I'm from the University of the Philippines. I was trained po in the United States at the Lenox Hill Hospital in New York City and at the Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center po, also in New York City. I am a diplomate of the American Board of Internal Medicine. But more importantly, I'm the wife of a mayor and the mommy po of an 8-year-old. So, tara na po. I hope I can explain what are the COVID variants in a very simple po but scientific manner. Please follow us po sa YouTube. Yung mga replay po namin, kasi mahirap pong hanapin dito sa Facebook, napakarami po. We are posting them now on YouTube para madali pong mahanap. So please follow us, like and subscribe po sa YouTube. Naka-live din po kami sa YouTube every time we do a Facebook Live. And sa mga nanonood po sa Facebook, please like and follow us rin po sa Facebook para malaman nyo po yung ginagawa namin at yung mga i-discuss po namin sa bawat araw. I would like to announce our discussions po for this month. This is so exciting. On March 21, we're going to have po the former director of the Philippine Genome Center. Ito po yung center po ng Pilipinas who is the one doing the COVID sequencing, and that's Dr. Cynthia Saloma. She's joining us po for the first time. Sabi nga po niya na she will try na i-explain po as simply as possible yung mga COVID variants at ano po yung ginagawa po nila sa Philippine Genome Center. Kasi medyo malalim po talaga yon. But she will do her best. And then secondly, we will have 2 talks po on obesity, COVID and obesity, and how to control po stress eating. That is by Dr. Florence Gan po, St. Luke's, and Dr. Joy Castillo po, Fontanilla, also of St. Luke's Global. And then we have talks on colon cancer surgical management. So ang dami natin pag-uusapan itong month ng March. Rains, are you excited about these talks? Parang hirapan po yung ating moderators natin to hear us. I hope they can hear us. But I'm sure later on pag-uusapan po natin. So come on, I start na po tayo. Our title is COVID Variants Help. Okay. So, first of all, ano ba yung situation po natin today in the Philippines? Well, today po, we are on a surge. The surge is real, sabi nga po ng hashtag. And every day for the past week po, we have 4,000 to almost 5,000 po positive every day. Ito po ay malaking change for the last 3 months when we had a total of 1,000 to 2,000 patients who were positive every day. So the Philippines po is in the middle of a surge. And one of the things that we would be asking po is what caused this surge? Of course, personal behavior, yung tinatawag po nating pandemic fatigue at yung mga hindi po sumusuot na mga masks, kasama po dito. But a very interesting question po that everybody's asking and posing po ngayon is kung yung ating pong surge now would be caused by variants. Okay? So what are variants? Question number 1, ano nga ba? What is a COVID variant? Okay? Ang COVID variant po, variant is a variation of the original COVID. And, nako, I forgot to tell this. Ladies, if you could please produce a picture of the COVID, I would be very happy po. Pwede nyo i-flash at any time. Okay? I hope you can do that. So, nagkaroon po ng COVID. Okay? So, there was a COVID. There was a ball with a spikes. Marami pong spikes. Alam po natin yan. Okay? And how does a virus live or ano ba ang life cycle po ng isang virus na tinatawag po nating COVID? okay, the COVID virus po needs to live within a person. Okay? That person po, kailangan ho siya ng host. Hindi po pwedeng mabuhay si COVID sa labas po ng katawan ng isang tao. So, it needs to transfer from person to person. Usually, alam na po natin that transfer is airborne. Ano po? Nalalanghap po natin ang COVID virus. It goes into our nose and our mouth and then lodges in the lungs. So, ang tanong, how does the COVID take over the body? Okay, assuming po natin may 5 piraso po kayo na nalanghap na COVID. Okay? Para mag-take over po si COVID sa inyong katawan, it has to reproduce. Kailangan po niyang dumami. Okay? And as the virus is propagating itself, habang dumadami po ng dumadami ang virus po sa loob ng katawan ng isang tao, it enters the cell actually and takes over the cell and then magproproduce po siya ng mga anak or mga anak na virus, dadami. The term propagating itself, multiplying, reproducing, yun po yung mga terms na ginagamit po. Otherwise known as dumadami. Okay, habang dumadami po si virus, preparatory po to taking over your body, meron po siyang genetic code. That virus has to propagate itself, has to multiply using a genetic code. Okay? Sa sobrang bilis po ng multiplication of the virus, syempre the virus wants to take over your body. So it has to keep producing thousands and thousands of viruses every minute. Ganun po. As it keeps producing new viruses, sa sobrang bilis po ng production, kuminsan po, there become changes in the genetic code. And this is what we call po a genetic mutation. Okay? So not all mutations are good. Meron pong mutation na humihina po yung katawan ng virus. And if it happens po that the mutation weakens the virus, mamamatay po yung virus na yon. But if it happens that the mutation makes the virus stronger, either mas nakakamatay, mas nakakahawa, that mutation eventually becomes, yun yung magti-take over po ng katawan nyo, and instead of the original virus, yung mutated virus na po yung mag-take over. As this mutated virus becomes, more and more, halimbawa, mas nakakahawa siya, mas marami ho siyang nakakalat sa iba't ibang tao, and then that becomes the prominent virus variant. So that's the reason po nagkakaroon ng variants. Number 1, viruses need to reproduce in your body. Number 2, as they reproduce quickly, nagkakamali-mali po yung kanilang genetic code. Number 3, if they produce by mistake, by mutation, a stronger virus, that virus variant is now called a variant. At yun na po yung papangibabaw kasi mas nakakahawa siya, mas malakas siya. Otherwise, that virus or that variant or that mutation, if it makes the virus stronger, yun po yung papangibabaw na pamilya ng virus. Okay? So, how are viruses? How do we detect variants? Okay, so alam na ho natin why we have variants and how variants are formed. How do we detect variants? Ito po yung tinatawag po nating genomic testing. For every positive po na nakukuha, kasi we test, 'di ba? Nag-test positive kayo. Tinitingnan po nila through a gene testing po and through various chemical testing po. And that's what Dr. Saloma will tell us when she guessed kung ano ba talaga yung nila. They are able po to find out the gene sequence of every positive. Ngayon, hindi po lahat ng nagiging positive tinetest nila. They test certain numbers, random sampling po yan ng mga positives. And tinitingnan po nila if the gene sequencing is the same. And there are times po na nakaka-detect po sila ng kakaibang protina or a different proteins po sa haba po ng virus genes. And this, once they find it, sasabihin nila, and if it is unique, then that is now a variant. Okay? So, dinedetect po ng mga scientists ito when they look at the positive PCR test, and then they will look po, pareho ba yung mga genes? Pareho. Then biglang, iba. Tapos, yun na po yung variant. Okay? And you may detect 1 or 2 variants that can happen, pero pag dumadami na ho yung na-detect yung variants sa mga positives, it means na yung variant na yon mas kumakalat na po sa populasyon na tinitingnan nyo po. And kung talagang halimbawa po, dati one variant lang. Let's say you detect 100 a day, dalawa lang po yung variant, and 98 is the original COVID. And then parami ho ng parami yung mga variants, let's say 100 to 100, no? Biglang 50 na, 50-50 na. So ang lumalabas po, that variant is now starting to take over the population po. Or yun na po yung pumapamangibabaw na variant of COVID na umiikot po sa isang lugar. Now, how do variants spread? Well, variants po, just like regular COVID, they spread po from person to person. Inuubo po yun. Halimbawa, ikaw, meron yung pumangibabaw sa katawan mo yung variant na yon, yung nahawa ka sa variant, and then inubuhan mo yung ibang tao, then sila po nagkaroon ng COVID, and then it's just the same po. Airborne din po yung spread ng variants. Okay? And how can we detect po na may variants na po? Number one is through frequent gene testing. And the other one po is napapansin po ng mga tao, pag bigla hong sumipa pataas yung COVID rate, there's usually two reasons. Number one, biglang lumalabas na naman ho yung mga tao, not wearing mask, kumbaga personal behavior. But a second reason could be the rise po of the variants. Kasi the variants are usually stronger po than the original COVID. So if, for example, like the Philippines po, no? Which is a very good question eh. Doktora, may variants na po ba sa Philippines? And could the variants be causing the surge? It is possible po. Kasi this surge is something that we have not encountered in the last 3 months. So, it leads us to become suspicious na baka po yung kumakalat na po sa Pilipinas is no longer the regular COVID, but a COVID variant. Okay? So, let's go po. And how do the variants differ? Usually po from the spike proteins na iiba. What makes a variant stronger? Usually po, mas nakakahawa siya. All of the known variants today are known and accepted to be mas nakakahawa. Number two, pwedeng mas nakakamatay. There is information po that the UK variant is more deadly. And number three po, there is also the issue na baka po nakaka-escape na po siya from our antibodies. In other words, sa Brazil variant po, may balita po na yung mga dati pong nagka-COVID actually were able to escape po. And, yung mga dati pong nagka-COVID, yung dati pong nagka-COVID, nagkaka-variant din uli. In other words, they are not immune. Okay, give me 5 minutes. May bata pong nanggugulo dito. 5:30 si Finn. Okay, 5:30. Sorry, may maglalaro pa ng Roblox kasama ng pinsan niya. And it's really hard to be both a mom and a vlogger at the same time. So those are the reasons po kung bakit nagkakaroon po ng variants. Okay? So let's talk about a few common variants. And parang may nakita po akong question na Philippines variant. So puntahan po natin yan during the question and answer period. Okay? So I'll just tell you shortly lang po about the different variants na narinig nyo na po. Yung UK variant, alam nyo na po yon. I think I talked about that last December. Ang UK variant po was detected po in the fall, no? Autumn po, October actually. So was detected po in October po sa UK kasi nung sa UK po, bumaba po yung infections nila over the summer. And then napansin po nila habang lumalamig, dumadami na naman po. It got to the point po na 15,000 a day po yung nagiging positive. So, during gene detection rin po sa United Kingdom, nalaman po nila, it's actually called the B117, no? The B117 mutation along the B117 protein po yun eh. This is now called in the UK variant because it was first detected in the UK. Ito po yung naging cause po ng deadly surge and napakarami pong namatay sa UK during this time. The highest na number po, 2,000 a day were dying and 15,000 a day po yung naging positive. So sa UK po, kaya minadali po nila yung paglabas ng kanilang vaccine and they have the Astra vaccine in the UK. pababa na po ngayon yung kanilang rate. But the bad news po, kumalat naman po sa buong Europa. Ito pong UK variant or tinatawag po nating B117. So, that's po, the Philippines now also has reported, the last I could see po was, sabi nila 18 persons sa the UK variant, but that was in February. So I don't know po kung ilan na pong persons. I have not been able to research that po. Hinanap ko rin po. There is also the South African variant. Yun naman po, yung na-detect po sa South Africa in October 2020. It was reported po formally in December. Eto po, talaga nagkaroon din po ng second wave, ng waves of infections po sa South Africa. And reportedly po, 31 countries na po ang merong South African variant. Very interesting po talaga sa South Africa, kinancel po nila yung kanilang Astra. Kasi there was not a rumor, there were concerns that Astra does not work on the South African variant. Okay? And lastly, there is the Brazil variant po. Detected po naman in Brazil. It's called the P1 variant. Nag-take over po siya. There were two variants in Brazil, P1 and P2. Ang P1 po talaga ang nag-take over sa Brazil. It was seen po in Japan. Magaling talaga yung mga Japanese mag-detect. Ano po? January 2021 po, from 4 persons who went to visit the Amazon po in Brazil. Meron pa palang nagbi-visit ng Amazon ngayon, nagulat rin ako. It was then confirmed po na nangyayari din po sa Brazil. There is an outbreak right now in Brazil. 12,000 na po ang namamatay this week lang. And they have, ang dami po, almost 500,000 new cases rin po sa Brazil. So ito pong Brazilian variant, ang nakakatakot po dito was yung mga nahawa po ng COVID dati. Kasi we think that if you get COVID, you can't repeat COVID. Ang nangyayari po sa Brazil ngayon is that it is able to evade antibodies. In other words, you can have a second infection po with the Brazil variant, and that's very scary. So, yun po yun. How do you detect variants? Through gene testing. How do you become suspicious na may variant? Pag bigla pong sumipapaakyat po yung infection rate nyo, it's something to be concerned about also. Okay? So, yun po yun. Variants happen because viruses reproduce. As they reproduce po, nagkakaroon po sila ng mistakes in their genetic code. Kung the genetic code mistake makes them more powerful, then this becomes what we call a variant at lalaganap po ito. There are 3 main known variants in the world, the Brazil, the South African, and the UK. And recently, there is a P3 variant. I really don't like to call it Philippines kasi pag may Philippine variant, matatakot kang pumunta ng Pilipinas eh. So there is now reportedly a Philippine P3 variant. Don't say Philippines. Okay? So sa inyo pong lahat, siguro we'll answer more questions po during the Q&A. You are welcome po to put questions about variants, questions about COVID, and questions about your health. And we will try our best po to answer them. Maraming salamat po. Ayan, Miss Reina, would you mind to answer po? Or at least Miss Kat to read the comments?
Yes po. Hello po, Doktora. From Miss Rosana Reyes. Hello po, Doktora.
Rosana, how are you? And magandang hapon po.
From Miss Leonora Matic Silva. Hello po, Doktora.
Leonora, how are you? Hello.
From Mr. June M. Tudino. Good afternoon po, Doc.
Sir, magandang hapon.
A question, Doktora, from one of our viewers. Doktora, may Philippines variant na po ba?
Unfortunately, excuse me po, no? Unfortunately, the answer is yes. Okay, what's the Philippines variant? It is called a variant po. I'm hoping we don't call it Philippines, no? Kasi once we hear the word Philippines and the word variant, parang it's really very negative eh. So nagkakaroon po ng discrimination. So let's call it po the P3 variant. So ano po ito, no? This is a mutation po on the proteins. It has the N501Y mutation. Ano yun? It's the mutation po that makes mas nakakahawa. So mas nakakahawa po si P3. We don't know yet more details and ito, pinag-aaralan pa po. It was first discovered po in Central Visayas. Actually, na-discover na po ng Pilipinas, but it was announced po by Japan last March 12 na nagkaroon po ng mga travelers from the Philippines na na-detect po sa Japan na P3 positive. However, it was first nalaman po ng Philippine Genome Center on February 4, 2021 when they were able to detect po 33. Opo. And then, nakita po nila na the earliest collected po doon sa 33 yon was on January 8, 2021. And napansin po nila where they got these variants po, bigla hong tumaas yung infectious rate po in Central Visayas. And later on, nakuhanan na po ng P3 P3 variant. Okay? So, it comes from Central Visayas. It was first detected po January, February. Announced po the name P3 was given on March 10. On March 12, may nakuha pong mga travelers sa Japan who were positive po for the P3 variant. So the question, mas nakakahawa ba si P3? It looks like it po. Kasi it has the similar mutations po of the UK, the Brazil, and the South Africa that make it more transmissible. Is it more deadly? We don't know yet. And then, pwede ho bang yung mga dating nagka-COVID can get P3? Again, we do not know that yet. And we are studying this P3 variant. Okay? So, wag po nating tawaging Philippines variant, malungkot. Okay? And we've seen a lot of posts nakalagay, ano ba to Miss Universe? Okay? Ito po yung Miss Universe na hindi ako excited. Hindi rin po, may nakalagay, hindi rin po ito United Nations. So, yun po.
Doctor, hi, from one of our viewers, Dr. Anna York Bondoc, please tell us more.
Please tell us more about what? Siguro yung Philippine variant. So, yun po yun, siguro kadugtong siguro ito ng tanong niya. So, yun nga po, we don't know much. It is now published on the internet po. Nag-publish po ng paper ang University of the Philippines identifying the P3 variant. Whether mas nakakahawa, mas nakakamatay, or any other characteristics remains to be seen.
Doktora, bakit may mga variant? Sorry, Doktora, nawawala-wala po kaming parehas sikat. Pero we're back. So, Doktora, bakit may mga variants po from one of our viewers?
Talagang that's the nature talaga of viruses. Viruses mutate. In fact, maybe a good question would be to ask, Doktora, are there any other viruses that you know that mutate a lot? I think we could counter this po with the flu virus. In fact, ang flu talagang meron siyang antigenic shift and antigenic drifts. So nagpapalit ho talaga yung flu yearly. And that's the reason po kung bakit we need to get the flu vaccine every year kasi nag-iiba-iba talaga yung pumapangibabaw na flu variant. Okay? So, is it possible that there will be variants of COVID in the future? Yes, it is possible. So, bakit nagkakaroon ng variant? Kasi po, nagkakaroon ng mutations. And yes, the flu is one of those viruses that do mutate and has a number of variants. Okay?
From one of our viewers, Doktora, baka hindi na mag-work ang vaccines versus variants. Magandang question po.
Yes. Well, ito naman po ang it is possible. I won't tell you na hindi. Kasi nga yung si flu nga, diba? As I mentioned, you have to be vaccinated every year. So, it is possible po that we may need booster shots. But our scientists are studying the variants and pwede naman pong ma-adjust po yung mga vaccines to deal with the variants. Yung sa South Africa po, hindi na po sila kumuha ng AstraZeneca. They stopped it because there was a question po whether AstraZeneca was ano po was protective um, versus yung pumapangibabaw po na virus sa lugar nila, which is the South African variant. So yes, it is possible that the virus, yes, it's possible that the vaccines may not work versus variants. But B, i-adjust po ng mga scientists. C, we can have booster shots. And D, this is very interesting, which might prove to be very helpful po, and might cause you to think about Sinovac, okay? Sinovac po, the Chinese vaccine, ang pinasok po sa Sinovac was an inactivated virus. The whole virus po, pinasok sa Sinovac at ininiksyon sa mga tao. So basically, we are forming antibodies po against the entire COVID virus, which is dead, okay? Yung yung iba pong mga viruses, yung iba pong mga bakuna, portions lang po ng spike protein ang pinasok. Yung iba po, instructions to make a certain portion of the COVID virus. So basically, the other vaccines are forming antibodies to certain parts of the COVID virus, certain spikes. So it's possible po na kung yung mutation mag-occur on the spike na pinasok, hindi na ho makikilala ng bakuna yon. But Sinovac placed the entire ball was placed in the person, pero inactivated. So what is the meaning of that? If there is a variant na iniba po yung, let's say, iniba po yung certain protein, yung buong protina naman ho yung pinasok ni Sinovac. So si Sinovac po, makikilala pa rin niya po na ito po yung COVID, kahit variant. Whereas the other viruses, pag tinamaan po yung protein na pinasok nila, kasi they didn't put in the entire thing, they only put in instructions or a portion, then magkakaproblema po. So it's very interesting. Again, this is not proven in real life. Mga theories po ito ng mga scientists. Pero very interesting po that Sinovac has the entire COVID virus inside the person, whereas the others have only certain parts of the COVID virus, certain DNA or RNA messengers of the COVID virus. So parang medyo positive ito sa kay Sinovac. But again, is this proven? Hindi pa po. But theoretically, it is very interesting to talk about.
From Miss Christy C. Villanueva. Good afternoon po, Doktora.
Ma'am Christy, magandang hapon.
From Miss Barbie Taruk Olap. Maya pa kaurasan po, Doktora.
Hi, Ma'am Barbie.
From Miss Ket Laksamana. Hi, Doktora.
Hi.
From Miss Irma Ong. Good afternoon, Dr. Anna, watching from Hong Kong.
Wow, Ma'am Irma, how are you? And I hope you are safe in Hong Kong. Pero parang maganda yung situation ng COVID dun eh. This is a very interesting question. How do we protect ourselves from variants that are coming from abroad? Okay? Kasi meron na tayong P3, no? Siyempre, that's worrying. But the question is also, how do we protect ourselves? Kasi sa Europe, kumalat na po ang UK variant. Okay? This is why our airport is so important. Kasi po, of course, pwede pong mag-mutate sa loob ng Pilipinas yung COVID, as may have happened po in Central Visayas. Okay? But from those going po from abroad, it is vitally important for us na dapat ma-quarantine po sila talaga ng 14 days. Those who are coming here sa Hong Kong, ma'am, 21 days eh. So, vitally important po that we should test those coming from abroad and quarantine them appropriately. Okay? Quarantine them po appropriately. Kasi kung meron po silang dalang UK, Brazil, or South African, sana mahuli na po sa airport, ma-quarantine sila para hindi na po kumalat. Okay? Kasi pag nagkalat po ito dito, big problem.
From Mr. Henry Olequino, good PM, Dr. Anna. Last year, July 7 po, yung flu vaccine ko po. Now, need po ba ng first week po ng July ako mag-vaccine this year or mas earlier month po ba? Thanks po, Dr. Anna.
You can have it as soon as the yearly po yung flu eh. So once the 2021 comes out, pwede na po kayong magpabakuna. Pwede na po. You don't have to exactly wait for that 1 year. Opo.
From Miss Tita Solege, Barcelona. Good PM, Doktora. Nag-flu vaccine ako October 2020. Okay po ba mag-COVID vaccine ako ngayon? Salamat po and God bless.
Ma'am, yes, definitely po. Pwede naman po. Pwede po. You can have a flu vaccine last year and a COVID vaccine po now.
From Miss Punsalan, Georgem. Good PM po, Doktora. Miss you. Stay safe po.
Hi, ma'am. Kumusta po? We haven't been to San Simon in a while.
From Miss Sagum Cruz, CJ. Doktora, good afternoon po. Ask ko lang po.
Ay, sorry. Opo, sige.
Ask ko lang po kung mandatory po ba ang vaccine dito dyan sa Pilipinas?
If you ask me, the answer should be yes. But again, marami pong I would say if you love your country, you love yourself, and you love your family, sana po magpabakuna po kayo. So, yun po yun. Opo. Kasi a vaccine po is personal. You protect yourself. It is loving your family. You protect your family. And it is helping the Philippines po. Kasi po, the sooner that we all get vaccinated po, the sooner po mag-recover po ang ekonomiya ng Pilipinas, the sooner po we can get, I wouldn't say we could get back to actually the pre-pandemic, but kahit papano po, makaikot po tayo with safety and security. So, if you love yourself, you love your family, sabi po ni Pope Francis, it is the moral thing to do. And you also want to help the Philippines, and sabihin na natin the world, my God, kailan ka magkakaroon ng opportunity na tumulong ng ganito, magpabakuna po kayo.
Okay. Doktora, may add ko lang dun sa kanina nyo pong sinabi, no? Actually, sa US, sa Florida, open na po ulit ang Disney, yung Disney World po nila. And also, sa Singapore, yung Universal Studios, nag-open na din po. So, Pilipinas, nasa na tayo? Nagla-lockdown tayo.
You know, eto lang, yes, Disney World is open in Florida, but so many people have died. And so many people continue to die. So, I don't know. Even if they opened it here, I still would not go.
Yeah. Well, the vaccine rollout.
Yeah, oo. Talagang or I would go strictly with a mask. Very important po talaga na we realize na there's a pandemic going on. Malayo pa po tayo to the end of the pandemic. We're only in the beginning, my gosh. You know how many vaccines arrived in the Philippines? Only 1 million. We need to vaccinate at least 80 million plus Filipinos to declare ourselves in a good condition. So, malaking bagay po talaga na we try to stay safe and follow po the COVID protocols. Baka sa Singapore, medyo mas maganda ata yung situation nila doon, Miss Reina, because I think they're more advanced sa atin. At saka maliit lang kasi. So, madali lang mabantayan yung mga tao. Dito kasi, it's really very, very
Agree, Doktora.
And eto lang people might not know this.
Yes,
but the second surge po ng Philippines, June, July, August. Yung July, August po, yun di ba nagkaroon ng ng time out yung mga healthcare workers. That was brought about by a variant. That was brought about by an infectious mutation. Ito po yung
last
letter
year,
D. I don't get the details, but that was brought about by a mutation.
Okay, from one of our viewers, kamusta na po after Sinovac? I think kayo po ang kinakamusta, Doktora.
Well, this is a very nice question po. I could tell you po, wala talaga akong naramdaman na side effect. I feel perfectly okay. Wala po. I really feel totally okay. Malalaman po natin after the second dose how I feel, and again, I'll let you know. Pero so far, okay siya. And you know what, Reina? Sa mga taong natatakot po magbabakuna, I was telling my husband, I'm so scared dahil may surge. Sabi po ni Dr. J, who's also a doctor and both a mayor and also very practical, sabi niya, Mami, ikaw lang, tatlo tayo, ikaw, si Benji at ako. Ikaw lang ang nabakunahan sa pamilyang to, okay? Though si Dr. J next na po, being a doctor. So sabi niya, if there's someone who should be less scared of the surge, dapat ako yun kasi ako yung nabakunahan. O, diba? So, para maging ano ho, yung kapalagayang loob, I would suggest po, when it's your turn, please do get vaccinated. Para ho yung peace of mind nyo nandun. By the way, Reina, tier 1 ka as a medical professional.
Yes, I just have to renew my PRC
So,
license.
ayusin na natin. Oo,
Yes,
kasi tier 1 ka and that's very important.
yes. Tayong next in line. From Miss Irma Ong, Doktora, okay lang ba nag-German measles vaccine ako last 2019 sa Philippines? Okay lang ba magpa-COVID vaccine? Thank you.
Ma'am, matagal na po yun. I think you're very much okay na po.
Dr. Amy, I have a personal question. Have you heard any contraindication of the COVID vaccine of any brand to any of our meron na tayo 'di bang mga vaccine katulad nito ng German measles vaccine. Meron ba tayong nababalitaan na contraindication? Wala naman ano.
Wala pa. Wala pa ako naririnig.
So,
Nobody really said so. The only advisory that is if you had active COVID, you should wait for 90 days. Ganun po. No, wala naman po if you've been vaccinated. Though I cannot suggest na pagsabay-sabayin nyo, biglang gusto nyo isa-isang araw flu, pneumonia, and COVID. Okay, wag naman. Kasi I would suggest po that you take your vaccines one after the other para po pag merong side effect, ma-identify po natin kung saan ang galing yung side effect na yun. Yun na lang po. That's why we don't combine or at least lalo na since bago po itong COVID na to, wag na po natin ipagsabayan with the other vaccines para mahiwalay po natin yung mga side effects nila.
okay, that's right po. From Miss Catherine A. Laurin, good afternoon po, Doktora. Just want to ask kung yung thyme herb pwede pong makatulong sa immunity against COVID kasi I read na it fights viruses.
Ano po yun?
Doktora, yung thyme na herb, opo. TH
naman po, no? Thyme, it's very good po for roast chicken. And thyme and rosemary. But wala namang masama if you wanna eat it. Wala naman pong masama if you want to eat herbs. Wag lang pong sosobra. But again, wag po kayo umasa like you're gonna eat thyme and then run around without a mask. Hindi po maganda yon. But if you wanna eat a herb and pang-cooking naman po talaga yon with roast chicken, wala pong masama. Pero again, wag po kayo umasa na yun po na lang talagang gagawin nyo. Always wear a mask po, socially distance, face shield, alcohol, okay pa rin po kayo. And then roast chicken. Pag kakain kayo na roast chicken, mag-isa lang kayo ha. Do not eat as a group. Kasi hindi rin po natin alam, baka kung merong may positive doon at kumakain tayo. But my answer to that is nothing wrong. Opo.
Okay, next po. From Miss Gemma Abaricio sa Turay. Good afternoon, Doktora. Good afternoon po. Pag may vaccine ka ng pneumonia, pwede na bang di na magpabakuna para sa COVID-19? Pakisagot nga po ito, Doktora.
Ma'am, iba po yung pneumonia, iba po yung COVID. So you need to be vaccinated po for both. Okay?
From Miss Feli Cruz, maayap panapon po, Doktora. Very informative po topic nyo at paliwanag. God bless po, Doktora.
Thanks, Ma'am, and maya pagat panapon po.
From Miss Irma Ong, Doktora, pag nagka-second dose ka na ng Pfizer vaccine, hindi ka na ba mahawaan ng COVID or any variants? Thank you.
Napakagandang tanong to. This is very Unfortunately po, the efficacy of our vaccines is strongest po, if you ask me, pag nabakunahan po ako, mamamatay pa po ba ako? I would say you are almost 95% protected from death, serious COVID po, and ICU situation. Okay? Pero, unfortunately, because we're still learning more about the vaccines po, I would say, pwede pa rin pong magkaroon ng COVID. And we do not guarantee po that you will not get COVID. And again, wala rin hong guarantee yung I would say 95% po yung severe COVID, death, and ICU may iwasan. Unfortunately, we cannot give yet that same guarantee po versus mild to moderate COVID or kung nakakahawa kayo sa ibang tao. So that's why you still need to wear a mask. Okay, but I would like to tell you this naman, ma'am. Sa UK po, no, 'di ba I mentioned there was a UK variant. I mentioned po that at the height po of the surge, they were having 15,000 positive a day. So ngayon po, 5,000 na lang po sila a day, and they are giving credit to that at bumaba rin po yung kanilang death rate, infection rate. That is what they are giving credit po sa vaccinations. So nakikita po natin in the practical world, in the real world, bumababa po yung COVID rates po ng mga ng mga countries na nagbigay po na po ng maraming bakuna. Okay?
Okay, from Miss Wednesday Bautista Encinas. Thank you, Doc, for the new information po with regards of this Philippine variant. Sana po sa mga na-develop na vaccine, it could cure or even lessen the growth of infected persons po. Thank you and God bless. Continue po to share your knowledge to the public. Ang ganda ng comment niya, no, Doktora?
Ay, oo, nakakataba ng puso. But you know what? I'm also praying and hoping that these vaccines would definitely lower po yung risk po dito sa Pilipinas. Kailangan po eh.
Can I just say, Doktora, I commend her yung comment niya. Kasi hindi siya, diba, hindi siya nag-go against. But at the same time, she is hoping na yung vaccine magkaroon pa ng cure dun sa magiging variant. Napakaganda. Sana lahat tayo.
Naku, ma'am, you're not alone. Kasama mo po kami dyan sa hope and prayer niyo pong yan.
From Ms. Sharon Parenio Fabian, Doktora, meron po bang guidelines for vaccination for people who have already been infected with COVID?
Ma'am, ang guidelines po, no? International guidelines, 90 days. Opo. For those who are having long COVID, yung may symptoms pa po, merong ganon, wala pa pong, I think we will have to consult for infectious disease experts. Pero yung halimbawa na COVID and totally okay, they usually say po 90 days. Thanks, Ma'am Sharon. Si Ma'am Sharon po yung nag-anunta sa atin. Interviewed us last Saturday for Themes and Motives. Kung ikakasal po kayo this year and you really want to do it safely, please follow Themes and Motives po. They will give you lots of helpful and practical tips. So, Themes and Motives, thank you, Ma'am.
From Miss Irma Ong, mas recommended pala yung Sinovac vaccine, Doktora. Thank you for the information.
Ma'am, hindi naman po siya recommended. I'm just sharing, well, all are recommended, I wouldn't say Sinovac is recommended over others, but I'm just sharing kasi iba't iba po yung way that the vaccines were developed. In the scientific term, this is called the vaccine platform. They are different. So, meron pong plus at meron pong minus. Dun sa Sinovac, they are saying na yung sinabi ko pong pinasok po yung buong vaccine, and therefore it may be more active against variants which may strike certain portions po of the COVID protein. Theoretical pa lang po ito. It has not been proven, but very interesting po itong thought for Sinovac. Okay?
From Miss Gloria Cruz, good afternoon, Doktora. Watching from Caloocan. Variant nakakatakot. Ayaw na namin lumabas sa bahay.
Ma'am, I hope you are safe in Caloocan. And yes, nakakatakot po. But again, let's not forget po, whatever variant po, basta maingat po lang talaga tayo. We wear a mask, we wear a face shield, we wash our hands, and we socially distance. Pwede naman pong mabuhay pa rin with some security rin po na we are going to be safe. And again, kung hindi naman ho talaga kailangan lumabas ng bahay, especially po sa mga social occasions, ganun po, those are really discouraged now. Lalo na po at may surge. So, ma'am, I understand po yung kaba nyo. Ako man rin, ganun din po ang pakiramdam ko. Stay safe, ma'am.
Okay, next is from Mr. Medios Nogoy Jeronimo. God bless you po, Doktora.
Ma'am Remedios, God bless you rin po and take care.
From Mr. Henry Olequino. Thanks po, Doktora Anna.
Sir Henry, thanks po for sending a question. Magaganda po yung mga tanong ni Sir.
From Miss Andre Aquino Hernandez. Watching from Bahay, Pare, Candaba, Pampanga.
Hi ma'am, kumusta po kayo? Hi po sa lahat ng mga tiga-bahay pare.
From Miss Teresita ko, good afternoon, Doktora. Pwede po ba magpabaksin ng matanda? 71 years old, pataas ang edad ng Sinovac.
Ma'am Teresita, thanks for this very valid question po to, lalo na sa mga nakikinig ng mga seniors, yung mga nakikinig po na may parents, ganun po, something to know about, no? Yes, actually, internationally po, in the US, di ba bansa, inuuna pa nga po yung mga seniors kasi alam po natin, these are the people na talaga pong pwedeng mamatay pag sila po ay ma-COVID. So it's very important sa ibang mga countries po, inuna pa po yung mga seniors. Now in the Philippines, Sinovac received po an authorization for the ages of 18 to 59. Whereas Astra receive an authorization for the seniors. So it does not mean po that Sinovac is not good for seniors or is not recommended. Ang nangyari lang po is Sinovac was not tested on the seniors. Though in China, they are now giving Sinovac to all ages. So may nakita po ako, and I'm going to post it. I just met personally an 82-year-old lady, pediatrician po siya, si Dr. Leticia Yap, from San Fernando, Pampanga. And kasabayan ko pong nagpabakuna ng Sinovac. So she signed the waiver knowing that she's a senior and that she chose to be vaccinated po with Sinovac. There's nothing wrong po with Sinovac for seniors. It just so happened po na hindi po siya tinest. So your question is, Doctor, why don't you test Sinovac? Well, most of the time po talaga, we try to test po on the healthy subjects. And later on po, pupuntahan na po natin yung mga pregnant, yung mga may high blood, ganun po, at yung mga seniors. So, kasi it's really a practice po muna to test it po on the healthiest population and then to move onwards po doon. So, if you're a senior po right now with comorbidities, ano bang meaning ng comorbidities? Like diabetes, hypertension, high cholesterol, ganun po. You can choose to be vaccinated po with Astra because yun po yung na-approve po ng FDA ng Pilipinas, or you can sign a waiver po and be vaccinated po with Sinovac. Okay? Thanks for that question. Sa mga seniors, mga may parents, take note of that.
Okay, from Miss Irma Ong. Dapat seryosohin ang health protocols sa Philippines. Mareklamo masyado ang mga tao sa Pilipinas.
Ma'am, talagang, two things I wanted to bring up here. Of course, there is individual responsibility. Siyempre po, people have to really, take care of yourself. Hindi naman po kaya ng gobyerno lahat. Like the government cannot police our every inuman and every encounter. So, malaking responsibility po talaga yung sa bawat tao. But on the other hand, I'm also a believer po that the government must also be responsible. For example, sana bilisan na po yung pagbili ng bakuna kung pwede lang. Number 2 po is yung mga positive po, sana bigyan na po natin talaga ng i-remove na po from the home. Kasi dun ho nagkakahawaan when we quarantine the positives in their house. So, it would be better po if we move them to government facility. I hope gawin naman ho ng gobyerno maganda yung facility para yung mga tao gusto naman pong pumunta doon. And another job po of the government also is to support those po. Halimbawa, yung iba, napipilitan pong pumasok kahit may simptomas. Kasi po, arawan po sila. So, I totally understand. Ano naman kakainin na sa araw na yon. Pero kung mahahawa po yung buong opisina, we should not do it. So, yes, ma'am, I agree. I think it should be a combination of both government action and personal responsibility.
From Mr. Lemuel Bustamante, good afternoon po, Doktora. Tanong ko lang po kung isang tao po ba hindi po ba magkakaroon ng close contact sa infected ng COVID virus, may posibilidad po ba magka-COVID?
Alam niyo, sir, I think this comes from the question na ang daming tao na nagsasabing, ba't na COVID yung si ganito, hindi naman lumalabas ng bahay. Um, ang hirap sagutin yan eh. Kasi, the COVID talaga po, I really like what Reina said, kung walang lumalabas, well, may pumasok. So basically, somebody entered that house and that person was a carrier of COVID. We now know that COVID doesn't travel po on on groceries. Talagang konting-konti lang po talaga. Okay? Yung tinatawag po nilang surfaces, yung mga hinatid po ng Lazada, again, konting-konti lang talaga. It's really human action and human contact. um, tao lang tayo rin eh. My husband is the number one contact tracer. I also talk to a lot of MHOs personally and doctors. Have you ever heard the song, Sapagkat Kami Tao Lamang? So, um, as long as we quarantine the family, we quarantine the job, co-workers, laking bagay na yun eh. Kaya lang then we come into the kainuman, the first and the second family, yung mga mahirap na there's a lot of personal issues involved. So, yun. Mahirap. And ako po, perhaps with my long experience po, um, I just don't judge. I just try to educate and to do the best that I can given those circumstances. Kasi once we start judging, ang hirap-hirap. So, but I would agree with you po, kailangan talaga ng close contacts. Kailangan talaga. It's not gonna happen from packages. Hindi po talaga tao, talaga tao.
From Miss Monette Noveda Casas. Hello po, Doc. Ask ko lang bakit sabi ng doktora ng mother-in-law ko, pwede daw po magpabakuna basta wag lang daw Sinovac. My mother-in-law is 74 at may heart problem siya. Ano po ba ang dapat talaga na bakuna sa mga senior na may heart problem? Thank you po.
Ma'am, tama po yung doktor ng mother niyo eh. Sinovac was not licensed or given the emergency use authority in the Philippines for people po who are seniors and with comorbidities. Ano ba ang comorbidities? Like sinabi niyo po, heart problem. Isa yan. Diabetes, dialysis, ganun po. Cancer, ganun po. But again, the question is, why was it not given an emergency use authority? It's because it wasn't tested. But it doesn't mean that it's bad. And in China, they are now giving it po sa lahat ng kanila pong senior citizens and regardless po of other infections. So basically sa China, lahat na po sininovacan. So tama po kayo, sabi po, tama po yung yung doctor po ng mother nyo that ang dapat po sa kanya siguro is Astra because Astra po was given the authority po for those seniors and those po with comorbidities, high blood, diabetes po, no? So, kung gusto niyo mag-sound smart, use the word comorbidity. So, comorbidity. I-flash ko lang po dito para they can flash it on the screen. Ano? Para you sound smart. Comorbidity. Ayan. Ang meaning po noon, yung mga may kasamang sakit. Comorbidity is sakit eh. So, hypertension, diabetes, dialysis, cancer, ganun po. You should take Astra. Okay, yan po, comorbidity. kung gusto niyo ho, tatanungin niyo yung kapitbahay niyo, kayo po ba ay diabetic? Sasabihin po ni kapitbahay, ay oo, naka-insulina nga ako. O, yun sabihin mo, you have a comorbidity, so you need to take Astra. Ayan. Okay, parang ngumiti lang po tayo. But yes, tama po. Seniors and comorbids should take Astra. But again, if you want to take Sinovac, you can. You just have to sign po a waiver.
Doktora ako, may question ako sa iyo kasi 'di ba nagpa-vaccine ka na. My question is during your 'di ba may interview naman po. This is related dun sa questions nila ng comorbidity. 'Di ba tinanong po kayo ng mga history of your diseases and family?
They will ask.
Okay. And then right there and then they will tell you if you are qualified for Sinovac or for further.
They will tell you po. Pero as I mentioned, may katabi akong 82-year-old. Tinanong sa kanya, Ma'am, pang 18 to 59 lang po si Sinovac. Pumirma po siya that she knows and she's willing. Buhay pa naman si Ma'am. Again, it's not because it's bad. It's just because it wasn't tested, Reina.
Yes, I agree, Doktora. So I hope na malinaw po sa kanila yun, Doktora, na hindi na lang to basta-basta ituturok sa'yo. Bibigyan ka talaga na, I think
yes, marami yung may counseling, ma'am.
Okay po.
Pero ito lang I forgot to tell you this. If you are a senior and you have a lot of comorbidities, the more po na dapat kang bakunahan. Kasi po, pag kayo po ay tinamaan ng COVID, mas mataas po yung possibility na mamatay kayo or ma-ICU. Okay? So basically, the number one po na risk factor for severe COVID is being elderly. Second po is many comorbidities or maraming sakit. Kasi can you imagine, diabetic ka na, hypertensive, dinadialyze ka, 80 ka na, tapos na COVID ka, oh my gosh, ayoko kung isipin ko ano mangyayari doon. It's usually bad. Pero again, meron naman hong nagsa-survive, Pero usually, yung mga yon na hospital na talaga.
Okay, from Ms. Irma Ong. Doktora, ask lang ng advice sa asawa ko na may diabetes, high blood and gout, and he is willing for vaccination. Request niya yung Pfizer. Thank you. Dito kami sa Hong Kong nakatira.
Okay, wala naman po masama doon. That's okay. Opo. I don't know po, ma'am, if Pfizer is available in Hong Kong, and I hope it is. Again, yung pagiging choosy po ng vaccines. Ako po, as long as the vaccine has been proven to be safe, sinuri naman po lahat yan ng Pilipinas, I would get the available vaccine. Kasi po, there is a worldwide shortage, okay? How do I mean worldwide? Global na po, marami pong companies, maraming countries na nakikipag-agawan. Why, no? Because, America bought all the supply, followed by UK, followed by the European Union countries. So tayo po, we are, of course, si ma'am nasa Hong Kong, ibang issue yun, Baka Sino ba kayo, ma'am? Hong Kong is of China. But what I would like to say, why is there a global shortage? Well, the first world countries. What is the first world? Yung mga sikat po at mayaman na bansa. Binili po nila lahat ng bakuna. And that is a truth. Yung sinabi po ni President Duterte na kahit may pera ang Pilipinas, wala tayong mabili, totoo po yun because binili po lahat ng ibang bansa. So really, we just have to wait kasi mauubos naman. Kumbaga, I don't mean mauubos. They will also finish buying. Upon which, magkakaroon na po rin ng bigger supply. And then, secondly, no company po talaga can supply the entire needs of the entire world. 7 billion po ang world, wala po. So talagang masirap. And sabi nga po ng husband ko and me, umuutang pa lang ang yung Amerika po, last year pa po, advance payment na sila. So basically, sila last year bayad pa. Tayo ngayon pa lang umuutang. So how can we be the first? So, yun lang. So kung meron hong bakunan dumating, it's safe naman. And you have the opportunity, magpabakuna na po kayo. Kasi look, may surge, wala kayong bakuna. Sabi nga ng husband ko kung meron daw dapat tumahimik na dun sa nervyos na surge sa pamilya namin, dapat ako yon kasi ako yung nabakunahan sa pamilya. O, 'di ba? It gives you so much confidence, ganoon po. So, ito po yung aking here, this is my bakuna pin. It says vacunado. I am vaccinated. So, I'm very proud of my pin. I'm gonna wear it everywhere.
Okay. From Miss Gemma Abaricio Saturay, salamat po, Doktora, sa sagot.
Ma'am Jams, thank you for always following us and thank you for sharing po yung tanong nyo so that everybody else may learn.
From Miss Tita Solege Barcelon, maraming salamat po sa sagot, Doktora.
Ma'am Tita, thanks so much also for asking. Kasi sometimes that's why I ask people, kahit you just wanna hide like from my best friend, yung pala kayo lang na po yun. Kasi marami hong may tanong, kaya lang kuminsan natatakot, nininervyos. So pag malay nyo, pareho ko yung tanong nyo, so i-share nyo na ho so that people could learn. At saka, and you know what also, sometimes, ako po bilang the one who's talking, I don't know po kung saan yung concern nyo eh. Baka dakdak na lang po ako ng dakdak dito, yung pala hindi naman po yun yung concern nyo. So it really helps me po to when you ask question para natuldok ko yung yung problema.
From Miss Jack Tupas, Doktora, any take for fomites po? Doktora, ano yung fomites?
Fomites.
Sorry, nice. Okay.
It's okay. It's a scientific term. It's not something that everybody knows. It's a scientific term. Yun po yung yun yung inanimate objects. Like mga books, ganon, kung saan maglaland yung Lazada packages, ube cheese pandesals. These are things na mahahawakan mo na parang nandun yung COVID. Um, so, Ma'am Jet, thank you for this question. Pero talagang to po, in the beginning of the pandemic, we didn't know much about COVID. So halos linisol na po natin yung buong bahay natin from top to bottom. Ano po? Ikaw, Reyna, were you not one of those who bought so much Lysol? Ako, I bought so much Lysol, nandito pa. Okay?
Oh
Yung
my
iba
God.
naman po, Clorox, di ba?
Yes,
Yung
not
iba
just
po,
nice.
lininis talaga lahat ng wala naman pong masama. If you continue to do that, that's okay. If it makes you happy, that's okay. Okay? Pero right now po talaga, wala pa po talagang lumabas na outbreak from mga Lazada package. Wala pa hong outbreak na like doorknob, ganun ho. Talagang wala despite the contact tracing, wala pong talaga wala pang, and which is good. So lumalabas po na you could still possibly get it from what we call fomites or inanimate objects na halimbawa may humatching naglanding si COVID dun sa dun sa table na nakawakan nyo, and that's the reason po for the alcohol. Pero kung major issue pa po yan ngayon, ma'am, the focus has shifted away from fomites or from inanimate objects kung saan naglanding po si COVID. And really, our concentration currently now is on the flow of air and yung pagiging airborne po talaga ng COVID. So again, I would spend time if you work in an office, if you are the boss, if you're gonna have an event or whatever, I would really make efforts po yung daanan ng hangin. Buy electric fan, buy HEPA filter, buksan lahat po ng bintanang opisina, and eat outside in the garden, socially distance po kung pwede. So yung focus po on fomites, no? Or mga groceries na may COVID, medyo bumaba na po talaga. But again, I cannot tell you it's zero. Pero hindi na ho siya talaga yung Sa tagal po ng 1 year na po, wala pa ho tayong nakitang report na na-prove po na galing po sa Lazada yung COVID sa bahay na yon. Sa Shopee daw, sabi ng asawa ko. No, so sorry Shopee, hindi po. Okay? Hindi po.
From Miss Sharon Pareno Fabian, thank you, Doktora. God bless you.
Ma'am Sharon, ingat po kayo and stay safe.
From Miss Sonia Bayani, hi po, Doktora.
Ma'am Sonia, how are you? Magandang hapon po.
Doktora, meron pong nagpapabati from SK Aris Supan Sulit. Belated happy birthday po. Pinapabati. Gusto po
Oo
niya
nga
yata.
naman, si Aris, birthday ni Aris. Aris, happy birthday.
From Mr. Boy Sally Manliklik. Doktora, maraming salamat po sa mga information about COVID variants. God bless po.
Thank you, sir. Ay, gusto ko rin humbatiin lahat po ng sumali ng SPES sa San Luis. Thank you so much for joining. Ang kanila pong project will be backyard gardening. So, kaya po, marami pong mga students na may dala-dala pong mga Wilkins containers. So, yon po. Congratulations sa mga SPES. I believe there are a few slots available. Mayor, meron pa ba or filled up? There are a few. So tomorrow po will probably be still one of the last few opportunities to join po. So kung gusto niyo po mag-backyard gardening, you're a college student, please pumunta lang po ng munisipyo na San Luis. Also, we are having the Mobile Legends tournaments. We are trying to form 64 Mobile Legends teams. Again, Municipality of San Luis. By the way, ikot po ako ng March 18 and 19 with Governor Adelta po na to award special over the 4th District. So hopefully I will see you there.
Okay. Ang dami mo namang activity, Doktora. Napaka-busy.
Mas busy pa nga akong pandemic kasi sa noon. Ito pa. For those who want to buy balut, please PM me, okay? Balut ni Dr. J. Available na po by Grab sa Metro Manila. So we are now selling balut via Grab. Opo.
We will share this on our Facebook page, di ba po, Doktora?
Opo.
Tama.
Yes, we will. Ayan.
Okay. Okay, next from Miss Ross Ramos. Good afternoon po, Doktora. Pwede po bang magpa-vaccine ng 66 years old at nagme-maintenance ng gamot sa sakit sa puso? Salamat po.
Pwede po, Astra.
From Miss Sonia Agbayani, sana po house-to-house vaccine.
Darating tayo dyan, Ma'am Sonia. I promise you, magiging house-to-house po yan.
Kasi I have one senior and pwede na brother. Okay. From Miss Teresita ko, thank you po, Doktora. God bless po. Araw-araw, sinusubaybayan ko kayo. Marami pong salamat.
Wow. Thanks, Ma'am Teresita. That's very kind of you.
From Miss Irma Ong, thank you, Doktora, sa lahat ng sagot ng tanong ko. Lalong lumakas ang loob ko ng magpa-vaccine. Here in Hong Kong, Pfizer ngayon ang available dito. God bless and more power.
Wow, that's good, ma'am. Pfizer is a pretty good and well-tested brand rin po ng bakuna. So I'm glad to know that that's available, and if it's available, go na po. Kasi better to be safe. Opo. So to everyone who joined us, thanks for joining. Tomorrow po, we'll have a talk. Announce lang po namin kung ano po yon the topic. Probably in the afternoon din po. Thursday and Friday, we might be busy po going around. And then, basta just keep following us po. Again, please join us on YouTube. So, to everyone, there is a surge. Sabi nga po nila, hashtag, the surge is real. Pero again, back to basics po tayo. Mask, social distancing, face shields, and alcohol. And again, kung hindi naman ho kailangan, let's stay close to home. Okay? Maraming salamat po and good afternoon.